Number 15, time ticks away. A recent survey showed that the average telemarketer wastes 6 minutes an hour. That's probably the understatement of the year. You're right. 6 minutes an hour doesn't sound like a whole lot. But let's take that out to the other extreme for a second. 6 minutes an hour, let's say, based on 8 hours a day is how many minutes? 48, all right? Times 5 days a week is roughly how many hours? 240 minutes, all right, divided by 60 minutes in an hour is how many hours? 4 hours. 4 hours a week. Times, let's say, 50 weeks is how many? 200 what? Hours? Divide that by 40 hours in a week. How many weeks is that? Glad none of you sell anything with any numbers in it. What does that divide out to? 5 weeks a year, folks. How many of you would like to have 5 extra weeks a year where you could put money in your pocket or take a long, well-deserved vacation? You just found it. Only with 6 minutes an hour. 5 weeks a year.
In this follow-up, we're going to talk a little more about time and why it's so critically important. In fact, one of the most important tools that we can ever invest in our career is a stopwatch, just like old Blue's using, because you can learn to time your calls and possibly more importantly, the time between your calls. Let me give you a good example. One of my first couple weeks on the phone, I made a sale, and I'm like everybody else. I've got an ego as wide as an elephant, so I wanted to make sure everybody on my floor knew that I'd made a sale, if not everyone in the building. I probably stopped by every desk on the way back to the office to turn in my order to the secretary, and when I came back into my work area, I happened to notice that my stopwatch was still running, and there'd been 27 minutes between the time I wrote the order and hung up the phone and the time I got back to my desk. Now, we've all heard that it's so very important to get back on the phone as soon as we make a sale so that we can share that mental high, that adrenaline flow with another prospect or another customer rather than share it with a fellow telemarketer. But again, there were 27 minutes between calls. Now, I got thinking, that doesn't make me any money. There's got to be a way that I can stroke my ego and let everyone know that I made a sale without wasting that much time. So I got creative. I stopped by Radio Shack that night, and I got a little radio-controlled police car. It cost me about $60, $70. It was really neat. Had a little red light that went around. The siren went woo, woo, woo. And the next day when I wrote an order, I taped it on the top of the police car and ran it out through the work area down to my secretary. So everybody knew that, Billue had just wrote another order because they saw the police car going. Now, that only lasted a couple days, and then management came to me and said, Billue, you got to get rid of your police car. It's disrupting everybody on the floor. So I got rid of the police car, and I went out and bought a tank. Now, this was really neat because the tank moved twice as slow as the police car, and it had a little turn on top that turned and went choo, choo, choo. And, that only lasted a day, too, and then management said you got to get rid of the tank, too. The point I'm trying to make are there's many ways to stroke yourself. There's many ways to stroke your ego. There's many ways to let everyone know that you wrote an order without wasting that time between calls. Here's a great tip for you if you'd like to really specialize in time management. Go out and hire a Kelly girl or someone from a temporary placement service to do a method time study, to literally break down every day into hours, into minutes, into 15-second segments, and then time out the amount of time you're on every call, the time between calls, the time that you're filing, the time that you're drinking coffee, the time that you're going to the restroom, and take a long, hard look at how much time we really waste every day. Here's another great idea for you that's absolutely awesome. Figure out what your time is worth on an hourly basis. As an example, if you're on commission, take your last few months' paychecks, divide them by the week, by the day, and even by the hour, and figure out what your time is worth. Maybe $5, $10, $50 an hour. But put together a little sign that goes on your desk or even hangs over your desk that says, my time is worth X number of dollars an hour, and tape up that $5 or $10 or $20 bill or $50 bill. My time is worth $20 an hour. Is this making me money, or costing me money? And every time you're on the phone, take a look at that sign. Every time somebody comes in to kibitz with you or shoot the breeze, take a look at that sign. Every time you find yourself doing something that just, confuses activity with accomplishment, take a look at that sign and ask yourself, is this making me money or is it costing me money? Too many commission salespeople feel that they're either making money or they're not making money. I've heard a lot of brokers walk out at the end of the day, a lot of salespeople walk out at the end of the day and say, well, I guess, I didn't make any money today, I didn't make any sales. Well, it's not a matter of making money or not making money in this industry. You either make money or it costs you money to come in and go through the motions each day. Here's an assignment for you. Start to tape your calls, whether they be prospecting calls or qualifying calls or setting appointments or follow-up sales calls or possibly customer calls, inbound customer service calls, whatever they are. Start to time your calls. And then each week, try to cut even a few seconds off of each call to make your time more valuable, to become a time management expert, if you will. Now again, as with anything new, this won't feel comfortable until we make it a habit. Be willing to improvise, innovate, and initiate this idea to help you reach more of your full potential.